Hi, everyone. My name is Steph. Thank you all for joining us this evening, and welcome to our New York City Public Schools Teacher Hiring Trend Session. You can go to the next slide. So as the slide says, if you are interested in a career in education, this is the right session for you. Thank you all for joining us again. I want to note a few things before we begin. There will be QR codes on the slides. And if you scan the QR codes, you can access key resources. You will also receive the slides after this event, and you will have access to a recording so you can rewatch and get any information that you missed. Please ask questions in the chat. Myself and a colleague are on the call, and we'll do our best to answer questions along the way, but we'll also save time at the end for questions as well. You can go to the next slide. Great, so today, here are some of our objectives. We will learn about teaching opportunities at New York City Public Schools. We'll talk about some recent hiring trends. Hopefully you'll leave with a high level understanding of the process to become a certified teacher and how to apply for a teaching position at New York City Public Schools. Hopefully by the end of this, you'll be able to start thinking about your teaching pathway and where you can have the greatest impact. Great, we can go to the next slide. Awesome, so we are gonna start with an overview of New York City Public Schools. We'll talk, as I said, about some recent hiring trends and forecast some opportunities that are coming up ahead. We'll then briefly talk about the certification and application processes at the state and city level. And as I said, we will save some time for next steps and questions. Next slide. All right, so let's dive into section 1. In this section, we'll give you an overview of New York City Public Schools and try to answer the question, why should you teach here? Next slide. So when you join New York City Public Schools, you are joining the largest, most dynamic district in the nation. With over 900,000 students who speak over 180 languages and a network of 77,000 fellow teachers, New York City educators really have the unique privilege and responsibility to jumpstart the next generation of innovators, leaders, and citizens. Here in New York City, we have 1,600 schools that are as diverse as our students and the distinctive neighborhoods we serve. From neighborhood schools with deep roots in their local community to smaller thematic schools. There are schools with a focus in STEAM, humanities, dual language schools. So really whatever your interest or passion, there is a school for you at New York City Public Schools. Here you can choose a school that fits your teaching philosophy, and you can engage with a community of like-minded professionals. Within our schools, teachers build personal connections with their students, their colleagues and families to support relationship building and learning outcomes. So we will talk later about how to find your fit and how to navigate the job search process here in New York. Next slide. At New York City Public Schools, we are dedicated to attracting and retaining the very best teachers for our schools. So we're looking for passionate and collaborative and committed teachers who really reflect the incredible diversity of our student body. So when we say passionate, we're looking for a team of exceptional educators who are passionate about educating urban students and truly believe in the power education can make in students' lives. Collaborative, our teachers thrive on constant learning and collaboration with colleagues. Committed, our teachers go above and beyond for their students and to understand students' challenges and embrace their potential. And diverse, we seek teachers, as I said, who are as diverse as our students. Next slide. So what are some of the benefits of teaching at New York City Public Schools? Well, here you can make a difference in the lives of your fellow New Yorkers, maybe even those in your local community. At New York City Public Schools, you can focus on building a better future. You can use your skills to develop the nation's next leaders, innovators, and educators. And you can build relationships with colleagues dedicated to a shared goal. So you'd be joining a robust network of over 70,000 teachers. Next slide. There are many other benefits to teaching at New York City Public Schools. As you can see here, starting salaries as of January 2025 are $66,733 for those with a bachelor's degree and no teaching experience, and $75,017 for those with a master's and no teaching experience. Teacher starting salaries vary based on education and experience. So you can earn additional compensation for teaching after school or summer school programs and for teaching in demanding environments. Here at the Office of Teacher Recruitment and Quality, we are not able to predict what your starting salary will be based on your experience in education, but you can estimate your starting salary by visiting the UFT's salary schedule, which outlines opportunities for salary increases based on previous teaching experience, the amount of time you've been with New York City Public Schools, and your educational credits. All teachers begin at the base salary and then apply for salary steps and salary differentials using the salary application system after you begin teaching. If you are eligible for a higher salary due to your experience or your educational attainment, you have to apply for a salary step when you begin teaching full-time at New York City Public Schools. You cannot apply before. If you are a paraprofessional, your years of teaching do not count as full-time teaching experience. And if you are a full-time substitute teacher, your experience does count as full-time teaching, but you would need to provide documentation or proof of your full-time work. Next slide. You can find additional resources regarding salaries on these web pages if you scan these QR codes with your phone. Again, we'll send out the slides as well, so if you don't get a chance to do it now, you can do it when you get the slides. Next slide. Some other benefits of teaching at New York City Public School include comprehensive health insurance plans, including dental, vision, prescriptions. Some require no employee contribution. We have annual retention bonuses, prorated during your first year and increasing each year. You would become a member of the United Federation of Teachers. You're enrolled in the New York City Pension Plan, and New York City Public School employees are eligible for many additional benefits, including commuter benefits, a college savings program, and employee discounts on everything from technology and media to travel and education. In addition, scholarships, financial incentives, and other special programs are available for many employees as well. Next slide. I also wanted to highlight there are exciting loan forgiveness programs that you could be eligible for as a New York City Public School teacher. This includes the New York State Teacher Loan Forgiveness Program, which is available for teachers serving hard-to-staff districts or who teach in subject shortage areas in New York State, which my colleague will tell you more about later. You must be a New York State resident for at least 12 months to be eligible, but you can scan the QR code on the left for more details about this program. New York City Public School employees may also be eligible for the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program, PSLF. The PSLF program forgives the remaining balance on your direct loans after you've made the equivalent of 120 qualifying monthly payments under an accepted repayment plan and while working full-time for an eligible employer. You can scan that QR code on the right to get some more information on that program. And again, we'll send out the slides at the end. Next slide. New teachers in New York City here hit the ground running with professional resources and learning opportunities tailored just for them. In addition to the numerous career development opportunities available, regardless of your years in the classroom, each year we survey new teachers and we use that feedback to improve our offerings. So this past year, 95% of new teachers listed professional learning as a top priority. So you would be joining a cohort that deeply values professional growth. New teachers in New York City Public School schools receive supports tailored specifically to their needs. So these include New Teacher Week. You would receive a school-based mentor, First Class Newsletter, which is a monthly digital bulletin for first-year teachers that spotlights vetted resources and tips and just answers common new teacher questions. Teachers in New York City Public Schools, no matter where they are in their career, have access to these opportunities. I think if you click, oh, there we go. So you'll have access to instructional coaching, ongoing professional development, and the I Teach NYC blog, and We Teach NYC library. So there are all these really exciting opportunities and resources for you, regardless of where you are in your teaching career here. Next slide. New York City Public Schools is also a place that offers teachers opportunities to further their careers, including teacher leader opportunities. One example of this is model teachers. Another is peer collaborative teachers, and lastly, master teachers. These leadership opportunities can include leading a lab classroom, facilitating professional learning communities, coaching peers, playing a leadership role at your school. You can find more information about these opportunities at the link you see here on the slide, and this would include application and stipend information as well. Next slide. We also wanted to highlight the New York City Men Teach program. New York City Men Teach is a collaboration between New York City Public Schools, the Young Men's Initiative, and the City University of New York. The goal of the initiative is to engage and recruit men of color to become teachers and ensure that all of New York City's young people have diverse role models, teachers, and mentors that represent the diversity that makes the city great. New York City Men Teach provides early career support, professional development, mentoring, and networking services to aspiring teachers. They also offer special teacher pathway programs for paraprofessionals and other school-based staff. If you want to learn more about New York City Men Teach and the supports that they offer, you can visit New York City Men Teach, or it's NYCmenteach.org. The link is here on the slide. Next slide. So now that we've talked a bit about New York City Public Schools overall and the benefits of working at New York City Public Schools, we can talk a bit about what it's like to actually teach here. Next slide. Sergio is a New York City Public School teacher who graduated from Brooklyn College and teaches English in a middle school. So on this slide, you can see some quotes from Sergio that hopefully resonate a bit with you about his experience. And if you go to the next slide, if we fast forward to 2021, Sergio is an assistant principal, and he's working on advancing equity and culturally responsive instruction and curriculum at his school. So this is just an example of what your pathway at New York City Public Schools, or what a pathway at New York City Public Schools can look like. On the next slide, we can take a look at another teacher, Charlene. She teaches science in a high school where she's focused on supporting English language learners in her class. She has the opportunity to support her students as they are learning English and preparing for their future careers. So she's quoted here as saying, "Working and living in NYC affords you with a range of opportunities you don't see elsewhere." Next slide. To learn more about specific schools, you can go to schools.nyc.gov and use our school search feature. That's right on the homepage. Using this feature, you can search for schools by name, borough, or grade level to help you narrow down your options. You can also browse and filter using the map that you see here on this slide. This can be a very helpful tool as it includes every school in our system, not just those with current openings. Next slide. Once you select a school using the Find a School tool, you can click on an individual school's name and it will take you to a page that contains a wealth of information about that school. Here you can click on the school website to go directly to their site. You can click on Overview to see some data about the grade levels that school offers, their enrollment numbers, some district information, and more. You can click on School Quality for direct links to any school quality guides and reports concerning that school. And you can click on Reports for additional information about school programs, finances, and more. So this resource is a great way to learn more about the different school communities in New York City and get a sense of what a teaching role at one of these schools might look like. I am actually going to pass it over to my colleague, Stefan, now to talk a little bit about recent hiring trends.
Thank you, Steph. Appreciate it. Good evening, everybody. So we're going to jump in and transition talking a bit about recent hiring trends at New York City Public Schools, as well as forecasting some upcoming opportunities as you're thinking about your career pathway. So here is some data from our hiring for the 2023-2024 school year. So as you can see, we have over 4,000 new traditionally certified teachers. When I say traditionally, I mean someone that completed an educator prep program leading toward a teaching certification. So we had over 4,000, and almost 25%, almost a quarter, teach under students with disabilities license. And almost 40% of new hires graduated from a teacher preparation program in the past 2 years. So you'd be joining a lot of teachers who are on the same career trajectory and timeline as yourself, while still having the opportunity to learn from many experienced teachers. And then finally, 52% of new hires are people of color. So now we're going to move into our high need subject areas. So while we do hire across all certification areas and backgrounds, we do want to highlight the current hiring priorities for New York City Public Schools. And these priorities can shift from year to year based on the needs of our schools. So if you are not yet certified or you are considering adding an extension to your certification, these are areas where principals will be hiring and where there's high demand for more teachers to be certified. We encourage you to consider one of these areas where teachers are in high demand. If you have an extension or another certification in one of these subject areas, it might be wise to leverage it to increase your job prospects. So looking at this image here, starting at the top here, top left, students with disabilities with grades 7 to 12 is our highest demand currently. All of our sciences are in high demand, math, English as a new language, bilingual education, especially Spanish, and finally world languages in Spanish. Just a note here, ENL is also called TESOL, T-E-S-O-L in higher education. So there's a lot of different acronyms. So I just wanted to make sure that you understood that as well. Now, high need boroughs. So another factor in hiring is school location. In the past 2 years, nearly 60% of new hires were hired to teach in Brooklyn and the Bronx. So planning to take a position in a high need borough can be a great way to maximize your job search once you're ready to take a position. And even more so if you're certified in a high need subject area, as we just discussed. Now, it's important that you find a school that's the right fit for you, but don't exclude schools because they're slightly out of your comfort zone or in a different borough from where you live. Almost all of our schools are easily accessible by public transportation, and we have students who need great teachers in all 5 boroughs. So forecasting opportunities at New York City Public Schools. So as you're beginning to think about your education pathway, what is next? So we talked earlier about some of the high need areas at New York City Public Schools. In addition to those areas, there are some areas where we have seen and expect to continue to see a fair bit of expansion over the coming years. And we're going to talk a little bit more about each of these areas. So as you can see, we have bilingual education, early childhood and early childhood students with disabilities, and career and technical education, or CTE. So starting with bilingual education. So New York City Public Schools is committed to serving English language learners across the city, including ensuring support for asylum seekers and immigrant families. This provides great opportunities for you to leverage your existing language skills to support students. So if you are fluent in another language, consider pursuing bilingual education. Now, the largest need is in Spanish, with additional needs in Mandarin, Bangla, and other languages. We especially see great needs for dual and secondary bilingual certifications. So for example, to teach science in a bilingual high school classroom. Now our next is early childhood students with disabilities. So on the early childhood front, New York City Public Schools has been the leading provider of early childhood services in the US, including a pre-K for all and 3K for all expansion over the last 9 years. Now, studies show that children enrolled in quality early childhood are better prepared academically, socially, and emotionally to succeed in elementary school and beyond. This is why New York City has prioritized providing high quality early childhood programs for all New Yorkers. There are many opportunities to support early childhood classrooms, including while you are pursuing your certification. There's also an increased need for early childhood special education teachers with a students with disabilities birth to 2 license. The city has expanded its supports for young children with special education needs, and we need great teachers in order to make it happen. So now I'm going to talk about the different early childhood program types. So there are 4 different settings available. The one that may be newest to you is NYCPS, or community-based New York City early education centers. These are independent early childhood programs that contract with New York City Public Schools to provide early childhood services under the 3K and pre-K for all umbrellas. Working in NYCPS presents some unique opportunities, especially if you are considering pursuing your early childhood teaching certification and want to begin working along the way, which we're going to talk about in the next slide. So those are the orange hands that I just spoke about, those NYCPS. But I will talk about the different colored hands on the screen as well, starting with district schools. So district programs are early childhood classrooms located in district elementary schools, and there are about 700 across New York City. Next, that dark blue hand, those are the pre-K centers. Now, these are standalone buildings that only offer 3K and pre-K. So if you work at one of these 2 sites, the district schools and pre-K centers, you are an employee of the City of New York, and you must hold a New York State early childhood teaching certification by the start of the school year to work in one of these settings. Now, the green hands, these are our charter schools. New York City Public Schools works with about 15 to 20 charters in New York City that offer early childhood programs. They usually have their own HR and hiring practices, but this is an option for you as a teacher candidate as well. And then finally, I did mention those NYCPS already, but there's over 1,200 across the city, and that's where the expansion in early childhood is really happening. So if you are looking for a position in early childhood, that may be the option that you want to go with. And I'm going to talk a little bit more in the next slide. But to learn more, you can scan here or go to teachnycprek.org. So one of the great opportunities available to those interested in beginning their teaching career before they complete their certification exists at these NYCPS that I spoke about. You can work at a NYCPS as a lead teacher, assistant teacher, or teacher's aide while you're completing your early childhood teaching certification. This allows you to start earning your salary earlier and to begin your teaching experience in a smaller environment that is 100% focused on early childhood. There are also many NYCPS across the 5 boroughs, so you can likely find one in your preferred location. The Early Childhood Teacher Finder is the application for not yet certified early childhood teachers, and that application is live now on teachnycprek.org. Now, career and technical education. So the third fast growing area at New York City Public Schools is career and technical education, or CTE. Now in CTE classrooms, industry professionals teach in their area of expertise to help kickstart students' careers. There are opportunities specifically in technology, business and healthcare fields, and certification pathways that do not require existing teaching certification or teaching experience. And you can find out more about CTE on the Teach NYC website. Now, if CTE is an interest for you, you can join us on Wednesday, December 4th at 6 p.m., where we'll be having a CTE specific information session. So to register to that, you can go to teachnyc.net/events. Now, differentiating yourself. So as you are thinking about your career pathway, there are a few different ways you can use the information we're sharing tonight. We encourage you to pursue teaching certification in a high need subject area, or to obtain a certification extension such as bilingual extension. If you are fluent in another language, use that expertise to support English language learners and take advantage of all job search supports offered by New York City Public Schools. We host job workshops, networking events, and we also send out vacancy lists and more. So now we're going to give a brief overview of the certification application process. There are other sessions hosted by our office that go into more detail, but hopefully this gives you a sense of what to expect. So teaching at New York City Public Schools. So there are 3 institutions that you'll interact with that all play a role in you ultimately securing a teaching position at New York City Public Schools. So first we have your teacher preparation program. So for example, a CUNY school that you're attending. So for most certification pathways, you must complete an approved teacher preparation program. And when you do, your university will then recommend you to New York State for certification. Next, we have the New York State Education Department. Now they determine certification criteria and grant your teacher certification. Now you will apply to the New York State Education Department for your teacher certification once you have completed your requirements. And lastly, it's the New York City Public Schools. So when you are ready to teach, you will apply to New York City Public Schools via the New York City online teacher application at teachnyc.net. And this is one application that will allow you to express interest in teaching in New York City's 1,600 schools. Principals will then make the hiring decisions for their schools. So the requirements to teach in New York City Public Schools. So first, you need to be certified. So you need to complete the requirements and apply for a New York State teaching certificate. For that, you visit nycd.gov for more information. Next, submit a New York City Public Schools online teacher application. And that's at teachnyc.net. And then finally, doing your own outreach and networking. Every eligible teacher candidate is responsible, for their own job placement. Applying for New York State Education Department's certification. So whatever your pathway is, all City Public Schools teachers must apply for and receive certification from New York State through the Teach Online services. Your school's certification officer will guide you through the New York State process. And just a note here, our office does not review certification applications or grant certification. This is all done through New York State and through Teach. So the NYSCD initial certification. So you'll likely pursue an initial certification, which is the entry certification for classroom teachers. This certification is valid for 5 years and requires you to complete several requirements. Completing a teacher preparation program, a bachelor's or master's degree, taking relevant exams, as you can see, educating all students exam, as well as relevant exams in your subject area. And then there's 3 required workshops, and then finally obtaining fingerprint clearance. So the New York City Public Schools application process. So once you are getting ready to graduate and obtain your teaching certification, you can also complete the New York City Public Schools teaching application. Now, this is one application for all 1,600 New York City Public Schools, and it can be completed simultaneously with the state cert process. Now, teachnyc.net, I've mentioned that a few times, it is the main source for all information about the teacher application. So please make sure you visit it. We have a lot of information on there that can help you as you do your application process. So this is the typical application timeline. So just to give you a sense of the typical application and hiring timeline, the application typically opens toward the beginning of the winter and remains open throughout the summer. Now, there's a lot of mid-year hiring that takes place during the early winter months, and then principals begin hiring and then interviewing for the following school year. Now, commitment is an initiative for candidates certified in high-need subject areas to be able to accept positions in certain districts prior to budgets being released for peak hiring. And then as you can see, the peak hiring is June through August. So now we're going to wrap up by sharing some resources, and then we're going to be answering some questions that you all have been answering in the chat. So first, I just want to talk to you about the Online Support Center. So you can visit the Online Support Center for 24/7 support with the application and hiring process. The Support Center contains hundreds of articles about every stage of the application and hiring process, as well as the Contact Us button, where you can submit your question to the TRQ help desk for a personalized response. And you can scan that and that will take you to the Online Support Center. You can also go to teachnyc.net, and on the top right, there is a support button. You can click that. And I don't know if you can see on the screen, in the screenshot, at the top right, you can see that Contact Us button that'll take you to where you can submit a question. Now, please follow us on LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook to stay on top of trends, events, and teaching opportunities at New York City Public Schools. We do have a very active social media platform where we share regular updates on the application and recruitment events that we have coming up, and news about what's going on in our schools and relevant opportunities for teachers. So please join the conversation by following us.